In this video, I'm going to talk about why I fired my human editor and made the switch to AI. Hey, what's going on guys? It's Andre Brown and welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we're going to talk about why I fired my human editor and went all in with an AI editing software. AI is taking over the world right now, like literally.
Come with me if you want to live.
And I wasn't ready to hop on the AI train as fast as everybody else. So before I get started, let me give you a little bit of backstory about how I got here. I began outsourcing my edits in 2019. And at the time, I was doing about 30 plus weddings and about 50 to 60 portrait sessions. And my goal was to increase the number of portrait bookings that I got each year. Now for me, in order to do so comfortably, I needed to be able to get all of my editing off of my plate. Prior to that, I was doing all of my own edits. So basic edits, retouches, and my signature edits. And with that kind of volume, on top of traveling around the world photographing my clients, it was hard for me to grow the portrait portion of my business while still keeping the same level of consistency from my clients that I wanted to have in my client experience. Initially, the idea of outsourcing is really scary because you never think that someone would take the same level of care with your edits as you would. So I was really hesitant to get started in that direction for a very long time. Now, regardless of that hesitation, I decided to give it a try. I initially outsourced a portrait session to an editing company, hoping that they would be the answer to all of my editing issues. And they weren't. Even after providing them with test images so that they could learn my style, it was still costing me too much time going back and forth with them with the revisions on, trying to get things narrowed down to fit my editing style. At that point, I started doing my own edits for about the next year or so. And in 2021, I started outsourcing to another company and they were an absolute godsend until they weren't. In truth, it was fine at first. It was the best thing that I had done for my business up until that point. But the work started to become really inconsistent. I could send in 4 jobs at one time. 2 of them would come back and it would be immaculate, absolutely perfect. And then the other 2 would be miles away from anything that I would deliver to any of my clients. During that time, I was able to grow my business and increase my portrait sessions from 50 to 60 to upwards of 100 or more during that time. But it just wasn't working out. So after about a year or so with that company, I decided to give AI a try. And to be honest, my expectations weren't really high in the beginning. I'm personally not into anything that's super hyped or super trendy, but I gave it a try and I'm actually very happy that I did. Like I said, outsourcing in general was the best thing that I could have done for my business. But once I started outsourcing to AI, it just took it up another level. Now keep in mind in the beginning, anything that's new still has like bugs and kinks that need to be worked out. And initially that there were features inside of the software that I thought should be there that just weren't there at the time. But even since then, these companies have made vast improvements in the software and it's only taken what they're doing up to another level. But even back then, the pros far outweighed the cons. So making the switch from a human editor to AI was a no-brainer for me at that point, but let's talk about why. First and foremost, AI sped up my workflow tremendously. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I'm the workflow guy. I'm all about things being fast and efficient. To go from me taking roughly 10 or 12 hours to sit down and edit a wedding when I could have been spending that time with more high-level tasks like doing marketing or even doing more shooting, to outsourcing to another editor, which in truth helped me to grow my business at that time. But ultimately, I still ended up having to wait 7, sometimes even more days to be able to get my edits back to deliver to my clients. And that just wasn't serving me for my business anymore. Now I'm getting full wedding galleries back in as little as 5 minutes, and the results are far better than what I was getting with my human editor. And it's even better than some of the galleries that I was delivering in some cases, which leads me to my next point, and that's the level of consistency that I'm getting with AI. I've even seen these inconsistencies with my own editing, and sometimes that can be the environment that I'm in. if I'm editing in a hotel or in an airport lounge. Sometimes the ambient light around can just kind of throw off what the display is giving me on my screen. And in truth, I could see the shift between, colors and hues in my galleries as I'm editing weddings. Now, true editors are editing in a dark room where it's just completely black and there's nothing, hitting the screen that's gonna change the hue of the image in one way or the other. But unfortunately, we're not always fortunate enough to be able to edit under those circumstances. So sometimes things like a room being more magenta, or the lighting in that room being more magenta, or maybe you're in a room that's daylight balance today. Sometimes, in my opinion, that can throw off the overall edit. But the biggest change in consistency for me, at least, came from whether or not I like the session. Now, I'm sure some of you are like me. You saw the session and unfortunately, you don't feel like you did as good of a job with that session as you've done with other sessions. So as you sit down and you start to edit, you just can't really get into it in the same manner that you would get into another session that you were really excited about. And sometimes that can affect the overall edit because you just want to get the job done at that point. You're not excited about the images, you just want to get it done and then get it completely off your plate. Outsourcing in general takes away that bias completely because the person that's editing it is not directly connected to it emotionally the same way that you are. But with AI, it takes it to another level because now you have the same consistency across the images based on what your work is generally like, and there's no room for human error. Number 3, I'm saving a ton of money. Now with my human editor, I had an unlimited plan, so I could send as many jobs in as I wanted each and every month and my price didn't change. But what it cost me for 2 months of my human editor, I'm able to spend that on AI editing and cover unlimited editing for the entire year. On top of saving money, I'm actually making more money because the faster edits means that the jobs get done faster, which means that I can take on more jobs. Now I can scale my business from 100 portrait sessions to 150 to 200 portrait sessions without blinking an eye because I'm confident that I'll get the edits back in a timely manner and they'll have the same level of quality and consistency that my clients are used to getting. But on top of that, I'm also able to sell expedited delivery services. So for me with my wedding business, I use delivery times as a pull through to my next package. So if a client is in one package that has a 2-week delivery, but they want to get it back in a week or less, then they have to move to that next package. Now, if they want that service, they just have to move to that next package, which again, just makes me more money without having to do any more work than what I was already doing. Now, I've been doing this for quite a few years in my business. And in the earlier days when I was having to do all of the edits, it was pretty painstaking. With outsourcing my edits to a human, it was getting the job done, but there was still those consistency issues that I was having. Now with AI, I don't have to worry about that at all. I'll send it through the AI. I can get the images back in 5 or 10 minutes, tweak whatever it is that I need to tweak, deliver it to the client, and increase my bottom line. So if you're anything like me and you've been holding out on switching to AI for your editing, I encourage you to give it a try to see how it works for your business. I've included some links down below so that you can get some free edits of your own, play around with it, and see if it's something that you want to add into the mix of your business. If you have any questions, I invite you to drop them down below in the comments and I'll be happy to get back to you. But I also invite you to join my private Facebook group and you can ask me questions there about anything photography related. And as always, if you enjoyed this content, I ask that you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and come back and check me out in the next video.